personally, nobody will say anything. Asari is not the man he can hold by his words. Asari can say anything today, say anything tomorrow. I'm not interested in what he says. All I want is peace in the state and peace in the country. And so everybody must follow the tenets of democracy, the tenets of politics.
Meanwhile, Chizi Yomasila said the FCT minister Nyesom Wike is not stopping the River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara from ruling the state, but urged the governor to obey rule of law.
This as an excuse to do whatever he wants to do. I am telling you, those people are good because he is dishing out money to certain persons. He's dishing out money, he's giving money to churches, doing transactional faith, trying to give as if God, he can lobby God to do whatever, instead of doing the right thing. The court says simple. I tell people, sin, the word sin, is simple instructions neglected. Simple instructions neglected. Submit the budget to the assembly. He said, no, I'm not going to submit the budget to the assembly. I'm going to be throwing money here, throwing money the other way, instead of submitting. That is instruction. So if he has submitted the budget, and then we are not saying that the assembly has refused to go through the budget, and approve the budget, then we will say, okay, maybe you are the one influencing the assembly for doing that.
This is coming after a group in River State, the Rivers Restoration Movement, criticized former Niger Delta freedom fighter Mujahid Asari Dokubo over his recent allegations against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The group condemned Asari Dokubo's comments in which he accused the president of backing the minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, in a supposed plot to destabilize River State. Edo State House of Assembly has approved the request of the state governor Monday Okpebolo for the appointment of 20 special advisor after the House received the list of a commissioner nominee, Emmanuel Okebo, as Commissioner for Finance designate. The request for the appointments of special advisors and the confirmation of Emmanuel Okebo as Commissioner of Finance were contained in the letter sent to the Speaker of the House by the Secretary to the State Government, Musa Umar Ikilo. In the letter, the governor said the appointment of the special advisors and the confirmation of the Commissioner for Finance designate would help in the smooth running of his administration. This is coming after the House had confirmed Dr. Samson Osagie as Commissioner for Justice and Attorney General, while Dr. Cyril Oshomole was for Health. Edo State Governor Monday Okpebolo has signed the revised appropriation bill of 485.63 billion naira into law, and the House of Assembly has promised to support the administration in its agenda for the growth of the state. The budget signing marks a move by the new administration to ensure rapid implementation of developmental projects after Governor Okpebolo assumed governance of the state on November 12, 2024. When the 8th-term tenure of the immediate past governor, Godwin Obaseki, expired. Speaking at the signing ceremony, Okpebolo commended lawmakers for the quick passage of the appropriation bill that would set the tone for a transformative governance. The Speaker of the State Assembly, Blessing Agbebaku, alongside other lawmakers, attended the ceremony held at the Executive Council chamber of the Government House and stressed the legislature's commitment to supporting the administration's vision and ensuring continuity in government. The bill presented to the Assembly on November 13th, the second day in office of the governor, underwent accelerated deliberations as well as collaboration between the executive and legislative arms of government. United Nations Development Program and the Anambra State government have unveiled a maker space in Awka to drive innovation and equip young people with the skills needed for entrepreneurship and technological advancement. A statement said the initiative is part of a broader strategy to position Anambra as one of the leading technology hubs in Africa, in line with Governor Charles Soludo's vision of everything technology, technology everywhere, and the project stems from the UNDP Anambra stakeholders meeting on digital transformation and tech development held in August 2024, which identified key gaps in the state's innovative ecosystem, particularly within its tertiary institutions. It also stressed on inclusiveness with tailored programs for women, persons with disabilities, individuals, and low literacy skills, and youth from undeserved communities. Speaking at the unveiling, Governor Soludo described the makerspace as a pivotal step in driving economic growth and innovation in the state, adding that technology is a bridge to a prosperous future. The long-term vision is to raise a powerful Anambra digital tribe who will drive economic transformation through innovation, position Anambra as Africa's Silicon Valley, and make a significant impact on the global stage. In her remarks, UNDP resident representative LCA Atafua said the groundbreaking ceremony was a landmark of young entrepreneurs, artisans and innovators of the state and region at large, adding that its talented youth are invaluable assets and has the ability to create an innovative locally for economic resilience and growth. Analysts has blamed the Anambra state government over the increasing rate of killings in the southeast. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network program Atlantic Blowout, a socio-political analyst, Mufasa Musa, attributed the increasing rate of killings in the southeast on the government-failed efforts in protecting the people. He urged the government to wake up to their constitutional responsibilities by ensuring that the killers are dealt with.
Has completely disappointed the people, because if the government continuously say that people should come out, because that's the case, you know, the government will come out, don't worry, we'll protect you and all of that. At the end of the day, when they come out, they get killed by this disgruntled element. It becomes a case of we don't even know who is in charge. So for me, I would, like I've said before, I'll say it again, that governance needs to be up and running in the southeast. They need to wake up from their slumber and ensure that these criminals, these undesirable elements, are sufficiently dealt with. Nobody's saying that.
Public Affairs Analyst Ambassador Magnus Edoho stressed on the activeness of the Southeast region as a big factor to the growth of the economy.
Doing their businesses, and you know that the Southeast states are more predominantly into commercial activities, and that helped the economy of this country. And when you want to, and you know, Monday in every setting is the beginning of the week, and then it's an economic starting of the week. Haven't spent your money at the weekend. Most of these people rely on their daily incomes, and you by force them to be indoor is inimical to the growth of our economy. It is against the Nigeria constitutions. It is against the government in the Southeast states, and it's against humanity, because it is only government that has, after God, I think it should be government that, and in a soliciting forms, if you want to restrict movement, you give reasons why you want to restrict movement, just like we have election.
This is coming after 3 communities in Anambra State were attacked by gunmen enforcing the already abolished sit-at-home order previously declared by outlawed secessionist group, Indigenous People of Biafra. Head of the Osun State's Park Management System, Wakil Noruddin, popularly known as Alowonle, was arrested by the anti-kidnapping unit of the Osun State Police Command and was allegedly found in possession of police-issued arms and ammunition. His arrest is also linked to the alleged killing of one Oyewale in 2022 and the assault of several residents in the state, and was apprehended at the Ring Road area of Oshobo while allegedly attempting to attack a resident who had filed a petition against him. A police source disclosed that this during the arrest, a Barrett pistol and 6 rounds of 9mm live ammunition and 1 expended empty shell were recovered from Alowonle's private Toyota Highlander unregistered Jeep. The Osun Police Command spokesperson Yemisi Lola has not responded to news of the arrest. Former governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, Ladi Adebutu, has been released from the custody of the Department of State Services. The Secret Police had on Monday evening arrested and detained Adebutu over alleged disturbances during the local government elections held on November 16, 2024, in which the All Progressive Congress won all seats. He described the allegations as baseless and ours as an attempt to silence him. This is coming after the Department of State Services had invited for questioning the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, Ladi Adebutu, over the violence witnessed during last Saturday's local government election in the state. While the Ogun State Governor, Dapo Abiodun, has sworn in the newly elected chairman of the state's local governments and challenged them to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people of the grassroots. Speaking at the swearing-in ceremony held at the June 12 Cultural Center, Kuto, Abeokuta, Abiodun said he will formulate policies and implement programs that will impact positively and improve the lives of the people in their respective local government areas, adding that it was imperative for the council bosses to key into the state's government's development agenda by aligning with the Ishtaya mantra, just as he advised them to embrace innovation to generate revenue for the development of the councils. Responding on behalf of his colleagues, the chairman of Sagamu local government area, Olashile Oduleti, appreciated the governor and the people of the state for the confidence reposed in them, pledging that the newly elected chairman would uphold the principles of good governance and deliver impactful leadership to the people in the respective councils. The special advisor to the governor on media and strategy, Kayode Akimade, described Adebutu as a drowning man finding someone to drag with him into the abyss, adding that Ogun State had not witnessed any political violence since Abiodun assumed office, a testament to his peaceful nature. Oro community in Irepodun local government area of Kwara State has appealed to the state government to implement the Supreme Court's judgment of January 2019, which barred of the traditional ruler of Oro from parading the prefix title of Oloro of Oro land. A statement jointly signed by the Baale of Oro, Chief Raphael Afolabi, and the President of Oro Community Association, Professor Bababode Bojuwoye. The community warned the recently installed traditional ruler Oba Olani Titiloye against using the title of Oloro of Oro land, or Oloro of Oro kingdom. The community said nobody from any of the 8 communities in the Oro district is entitled to be enthroned as the Oloro of Oro, Oba Oro of Oro kingdom, following the Supreme Court's judgment delivered on January 18, 2019 by Justice Mary Ukaibo Odili and 4 other judges. The statement also said Obajuel Olani Yoya Lole Titiloye and members of his traditional council and individuals from the 8 communities in the Oro district have no rights, power or jurisdiction to add any prefix or suffix to the name of their community, saying Oro is Oro, no prefix, no suffix, and any attempt to ascribe a name for the community will be regarded as contempt of court. Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has approved a new minimum wage of 75,000 naira for workers in the state. According to a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Kula Tasu, the governor made the declaration at the state secretariat following a meeting with representatives of organized labor, adding that the new minimum wage will take effect in November 2024, and the state government was ready to clear 3 months of salary arrears alongside implementing the updated wage. The governor said the state government's decision to exceed the federal minimum of 70,000 naira was a response to workers' concerns and a reflection of his administration's commitment to improving the welfare. He also said the payments of arrears and the higher minimum wage were measures aimed at alleviating the economic hardships faced by employees. Minister of FCT has approved 1.1 billion naira as compensation for the affected houses along the ongoing constructions at Kuje Expressway. The Minister of FCT, Nyesom Wike, who disclosed these during an inspection of the access road leading to the Abuja Division of Court of Appeal and the affected houses in Kuje Expressway, expressed satisfaction with the construction of the Abuja Division of Court of Appeal by the contractors. He also expressed assurance that the complex would be completed in due time, as promised.
September next year, the contractor would have handed over the structure, which is Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal. What I'm very much impressed with what I've seen. I can also see the construction of the road leading to that edifice, and the contractor is also doing everything possible to see that he meets up to the time. So one is really impressed with what we're seeing. I have come here to see for myself the report on the valuation, what was supposed to pay. When I got the file for approval, I said, look, it will be proper for me to go and see for myself the kind of structures that we're going to pay. So I'm happy what I've seen, and I will immediately approve it so that they can start paying the compensation so that the work will not be delayed. The entire estimate they gave is about 1.1 billion, and to pay for those whose property are affected, like some of these buildings you have seen here, down to the community. So it's about 1.1 billion, and we are going to make it available so that the contractor will not find any excuse for delay.
Speaking of the staff welfare in his ministry, Nyesom Wike said he has approved a 70,000 minimum wage as directed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to encourage workers to do more.
The commitment made by the federal government under the new agenda that the workers' wages should be increased. And in line with that, we have also adopted it and have also approved for the payment of the arrears as agreed with the labor. I expect that the workers will also see this as a boost and be more committed for us to achieve the development that is required in the city. So workers should not leverage on, oh, now that money has been paid, it means that more work is expected from you.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sport. From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATM. From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATM.
Aha! Is there it?
Bro, I dey tell you, this match 3-0.
Okay.
If I win you, something will come out.
Don't play with me. Fast ball, fast ball. Ah, you know what? You go shot
Bro.
me. Now we got this man.
Keep the banter going with Glow Borrow Me Credit or Data. Dial star 303 hash to borrow airtime or data and pay later.
Is there ready?
Only one thing I didn't.
Okay.
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high-speed data. Glow Unlimited.
Thanks for staying with us, and now to the rest of our stories. Borno State's government, in collaboration with the United Nations Children's Fund, has unveiled a roadmap aimed at eradicating open defecation across the state's 27 local government areas. Speaking during the unveiling of the initiative in Maiduguri, the state's capital, on Tuesday, Governor Babagana Zulum urged residents to embrace the campaign and support efforts to achieve an open defecation-free in Borno State. Zulum, who was represented by his deputy Umar Kadafor, highlighted his administration's commitment to addressing critical issues across sectors such as education, transportation, infrastructure, and health over the past 6 years, and also directed relevant agencies and departments to align their programs with the ODF objective, describing the initiative as a legacy for future generations. The UNICEF Chief of Maiduguri Field Office, Gerida Birukila, commended the state government's proactive approach to tackling open defecation, noting that Borno is one of Nigeria's leading states in the fight against the menace, and highlighted the significant impact of open defecation on children, citing severe malnutrition, stunted growth, and diseases such as diarrhea as major consequences. The education advisor of the British High Commission, James Donoghue, commended UNICEF's work in Borno, particularly in education, which focuses on improving children's literacy and numeracy skills, stressing that the ODF roadmap is expected to galvanize action towards a healthier and more hygienic environment in Borno State, with the government and partners pledging continued support for the initiative. President Bola Tinubu has expressed Nigeria's readiness to represent Africa in the United Nations Security Council and called on the Council to reflect global diversity by allocating 2 permanent seats to Africa, as Nigeria stands ready and willing to serve as representative of Africa in this capacity. The president will disclose these at the 19th G20 Leaders Summit opening session in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. A State House release on Tuesday by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, titled At the G20 Summit in Brazil, President Tinubu endorses the launch of the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty. Tinubu said the Security Council should expand its permanent and non-permanent member categories to reflect the world's diversity and plurality better. He said such broad participation would open the opportunity for more inclusive and effective discussions to address shared global challenges, including extreme poverty, inequality, climate change, terrorism, and global conflicts, adding that the issues are exacerbated by long-standing inequities in the global governance system, which have led to sustainable sovereign debt and distortions in access to capital markets, trade imbalances, unfair. The Nigerian leader also lauded his Brazilian counterpart Lula da Silva for championing the creation of the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, and described the alliance as a significant milestone to eradicate global hunger and poverty. Tinubu also spoke on the alliance with his administration's commitment to realizing Sustainable Development Goals 1 and 2, which focus on eradicating poverty and achieving zero hunger, respectively. President Bola Tinubu has approved a restructuring in his media and communications team with his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, and the new appointees are Sunday Dare and Daniel Bola to work jointly as his spokespersons. The president approved the team in a bid to ensure an effective and consistent communication of government policies, decisions, and engagements, adding that his administration would have 3 special advisors who will collectively serve as spokespersons for the government. A statement by the State House titled President Tinubu approves restructuring of media and communications team said the president's special advisor on public communication and national orientation, Sunday Dare, has been redeployed as the special advisor, media and public communications. Former spokesperson for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's Presidential Campaign Council, Daniel Bola, will now serve as the President's Special Advisor, Policy Communication. President Bola Tinubu has formally submitted the 2025-2027 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy Paper MTEF and FSP to the House of Representatives for approval. The document, which has been approved by the Federal Executive Council on November 10, 2024, outlines the government's fiscal policies and spending plans for the next 3 years. In a letter read on the floor of the House during plenary, the Speaker, Dr. Abbas Tajuddin, conveyed President Tinubu's emphasis on the importance of expeditious legislative action on the submission, as the 2025 budget will be prepared based on the parameters and fiscal assumptions outlined in the MTEF and FSP. While soliciting the kind consideration and approval of the House, the President pledged his administration's commitment to prioritizing the well-being of citizens. The House of Representatives is now expected to review and approve the MTEF and FSP, paving the way for the implementation of the government's fiscal plans for the next 3 years.
Of request for the resolution of the National Assembly for the implementation of the new external borrowing of 1,767,610,321,779 naira, which is about the equivalence of $2.209 billion in the 2024 Appropriation Act. And the message reads as follows. In accordance with the provisions of Section 21, Subsection 1, and Section 27, Subsection 1 of the Debt Management Office DMO Establishment Act 2023 and the approval of the Federal Executive Council, I write to request for a resolution of the National Assembly to raise the sum of 1,767,610,321,779 naira, equivalent of 2,209,512,902 at the budget exchange rate of USD 1 to 800 naira, provided as new external borrowing in the 2024 Appropriation Act to part finance the budget deficit of 9.179 trillion in the 2024 budget.
In another letter, the President has requested for the resolution of the National Assembly for the implementation of the new external borrowing, 1.767 trillion naira, approximately $2.209 billion to finance the 2024 budget deficit. According to the President's letter to the House of Representatives, the borrowing will be raised from commercial sources, including Eurobonds, sovereign Surukuk and bridge finance, syndicated loans, adding that the funds will support key sectors like power, transport, agriculture, defense, and security, and increase Nigeria's external reserves, supporting the naira exchange rate. The President assured that the Federal Ministry of Finance and the Debt Management Office will secure the best terms and conditions for the borrowing.
Of request for the resolution of the National Assembly for the implementation of the new external borrowing of 1,767,610,321,779 naira, which is about the equivalence of $2.209 billion in the 2024 Appropriation Act. And the message reads as follows. In accordance with the provisions of Section 21, Subsection 1, and Section 27, Subsection 1 of the Debt Management Office DMO Establishment Act 2023 and the approval of the Federal Executive Council, I write to request for a resolution of the National Assembly to raise the sum of 1,610,621,779 naira, equivalent of $2,209,512,902 at the budget exchange rate of USD 1 to 800 naira, provided as new external borrowing in the 2024 Appropriation Act to part finance the budget deficit of 9.179 trillion in the 2024 budget.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has also forwarded the National Social Investments Program Agency Establishment Bill 2024 to the House of Representatives for consideration and passage. In a letter read on the floor of the House by the Speaker, Dr. Abbas, the President explains that the bill aims to amend the National Social Investment Program Agency Act 2023, making the National Social Register the primary tool for implementing government social investment programs. He also said the proposed amendment seeks to ensure Nigeria's social welfare programs are data-driven, transparent, targeted, dynamic, and effective in delivering benefits to vulnerable citizens. According to him, the bill's passage is expected to guarantee the sustainability of the National Social Investments Program, NSIP, as a valuable tool for poverty alleviation in Nigeria.
Another announcement coming again from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This time it is in respect of transmission of the National Social Investment Program Agency Establishment Amendment Bill 2024 for consideration of the National Assembly. And the message reads as follows. Pursuant to Section 58 of Section 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I forward herewith for the consideration and passage by the House of Representatives the National Social Investment Program Agency Establishment Amendment Bill 2024 for the amendment.
Bola Tinubu has written to the Nigerian Senate seeking approval of a fresh $2.2 billion as a new external borrowing plan, the 2024 Appropriation Act. The President's request was read by President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, during plenary on Tuesday, and if approved, the loan will be used to part finance the budget's deficit in 7 trillion naira for the 2024 budget.
Request for a resolution of the National Assembly for the implementation of the new external borrowing of $767,610.
President Tinubu also transmitted the medium-term expenditure framework and a fiscal strategy paper 2025 to 2027 to the Parliament for consideration and approval. Also forwarded was the National Social Investments Program Establishment Amendments Bill to make the Social Register the primary tool for the implementation of the federal government's social welfare programs.
The 2025-2027 MTEF and FSP was approved during the Federal Executive Council meeting of 10th day of November 2024. The Senate is invited to note that as the 2025 budget of the federal government of Nigeria will be prepared based on the parameters and fiscal assumptions of the approved 2025.
Hajiya Jibrin Barau, wife of the Deputy Senate President, and Oluyemishi Bamidele, wife of the Senate's leader. Earlier, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, led a delegation of House leaders in a solemn procession around the late Senator's casket. And as the Senate paid its final tributes to Senator Uba, whose contributions to the legislative body were celebrated during the session. Senate has vowed to invoke parliamentary sanctions against any head of a federal government agency indicted for financial infractions in the report submitted to the National Assembly by the Auditor General for the Federation. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Legislative Compliance, Senator Garba Madoki, gave the warning at a one-day roundtable workshop in Abuja and lamented the rate at which heads of the ministries, departments and agencies have been shunning Senate summons and warned that further dysregulations of the Red Chamber would no longer be tolerated. He expressed concerns over irregularities and weakness in financial regulations across ministries, departments, and agencies of government, especially in the disbursement and utilization of public funds, stressing that transparency and accountability in government financial management systems could not be overemphasized, particularly given the country's rapidly dwindling revenues as well as its impact in annual budget. The Auditor General, in his latest annual report on the financial conduct of public institutions, currently before the two chambers of the National Assembly, said a total sum of 105.66 billion naira had been expended by the MDAs in the breach of extant rules and regulations. He also expressed concern over the persistent inherent weaknesses in the system despite his previous recommendations to the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, as well as the Accountant General of the Federation for prompt actions, adding that the Senate Committee on Public Accounts is already dealing with the AGF report. The Senate's President, Godswill Akpabio, in his speech read on the occasion by his deputy Jibrin Barau, also said the 10th National Assembly will not take it easy with any head of the MDAs who flouts his resolutions, and legislative compliance is critical to the success of governance. In view of the 7-day warning strike embarked upon by the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, which has already taken a toll on patients in Abuja hospitals, many patients are lamenting the delays in accessing health services and no patients due to the ongoing strike. Eyewitnesses said the strike has affected 83 health facilities and 64 medical schools across the country, and members of Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria are on strike to press home their demands, asking the federal government to relieve the chairman of the Governing Council of Nnamdi Azikiwe University of his appointment as council chairman for his insubordination and to enforce the Ministry of Education's directive nullifying any appointments subsequent to the directives. At the National Hospital, Abuja, a patient identified as Uchenna said he was refused admission to the hospital because the consultants were on strike, while another patient, Bukola Bambose, also said the strike was taking its toll on patients as they had to wait longer hours to see a doctor. Spokesperson for the hospital, Dr. Tayo Hastrup, said the hospital was attending to emergency cases, while at the Federal Medical Center, Abuja, a patient, Wale Debo, appealed to the striking doctors and the federal government to reach an agreement that will put a stop to the recurring strikes in the nation's teaching hospitals. Meanwhile, the chairman of the 10th Senate Committee on Health, Dr. Ipalibo Banigo, has scheduled a meeting with the striking doctors for Wednesday, while the national president of the Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria, Professor Mohammed have also confirmed the meeting fixed for tomorrow. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetoku has urged Nigerians to refrain from using social media to report the conduct of police officers and instead direct such complaints to the Police Complaints Response Unit. Speaking at the PPRO and Police Communication Experts Conference in Asaba, Delta State, the IG stressed on the use of social media to address grievances that often leads to misinformation and undermines the integrity of the police force, adding that the role social media plays in shaping public opinion, but warned that unverified information could create false perceptions. The IGP highlighted the importance of promoting transparency and accountability within the police force, adding that the police consider the media a critical partner in its effort, while Governor Sheriff Oberevwori of Delta State, who opened the conference, also shared his insights on the challenges of policing in states like Delta and Lagos, pointing out the importance of countering misinformation and fostering effective communication between the police and the public. Both the IG and the governor underscored the need for public engagement, highlighting the role of police public relations officers in addressing misconceptions and showcasing the positive work of the police. Federal High Court in Lagos has adjourned the hearing of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project over environmental impacts to January 14, 2025. This is coming after the former governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress in Lagos State, Funsho Doherty, had dragged the Attorney General of the Federation Bureau of Public Procurement and High-Tech Construction Company before the court over open competitive bidding. He alleged that the Federal Ministry of Works violated the Public Procurement Act 2007 by awarding the first two phases of the highway to high-tech construction through a single-source procurement process, bypassing the required open competitive bidding. Doherty is accusing the Federal Ministry of Works of unlawfully awarding the highway's first two sections to high-tech construction without adhering to Nigeria's public procurement laws. While in his originating summons, Doherty argued that the ministry's decision bypassed the open competitive bidding process mandated by the Public Procurement Act 2007, and also claimed that the construction began without the required environmental impact assessment, which bridges the Environmental Impact Assessment Act 1992. The plaintiff is asking the courts for a declaration that the award of the first two sections of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project by the Federal Ministry of Works to the third defendant without subjecting same to open competitive bidding was unlawful and void, being in breach of the Public Procurement Act 2007. He also asked the court for a declaration that the commencement of construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project without first undertaking an environmental impact assessment was unlawful and a breach of the Environmental Impact Assessment Act 1992, and further sought a declaration that the Federal Ministry of Environment and the second defendant failed in the statutory duties of ensuring compliance with the Environmental Impact Assessment Act and the Public Procurement Act. Federal government has inaugurated a coordinating council for critical national assets and infrastructure protection in Nigeria. The National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu, who inaugurated the council in Abuja, said the council consists of heads of security agencies and other relevant stakeholders, adding that the occasion marks a significant milestone in the ongoing commitments to safeguard the vital components of the society to ensure prosperity. According to him, the council is not just as a response to security threats, but a proactive step towards fostering collaboration, innovation, and strategic planning, adding that government must lay the foundation for a resilient framework that will safeguard the nation's infrastructure. Also speaking, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, said the co-chairman of the council appreciated President Bola Tinubu for approving the establishment of the council, as well as the NSA for successfully assembling all stakeholders. And now we move on to business news. Barely 2 months after the September completion deadline flop, has the Nigerian National Petroleum Commission explained why it could not deliver the much-awaited Port Harcourt Refinery Company. The NNPC Chief Corporate Communications Officer, Olufemi Soneye, said the company encountered risks and challenges while carrying out the rehabilitation, being a brownfield project, adding that the NNPC began the commissioning of critical equipment and processing units after the mechanical completion in Nigeria. Soneye stressed that work is being carried out to ensure the project's completion, and the NNPC has stopped giving no deadlines for the delivery of the refinery, having failed to meet its deadlines 7 times. The moribund Port Harcourt refinery is one of 3 owned by the federal government and managed by the NNPC, and Nigerians have been hopeful that the cost of fuel could crash if the country refines its crude and ends the imports of refined products. NNPC said last week that it would continue to import fuel, saying it was not the sole off-taker of petrol as the Dangote refinery, while the refinery situated in Nigeria's oil-rich Niger Delta region has been in operation since 1965, but later became moribund for several years. Nigeria's Civil Aviation Authority has vowed to take tough measures against airlines that delay passengers' luggage. The regulatory agency said it will impose fines of $170 and 10,000 naira on foreign and local airlines respectively for delayed passengers' luggage as a first measure to guide against such an act. This is coming after in October in Abuja, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority said passengers could claim up to $1,000 for missing luggage on domestic flights, as well as $1,288 special running rights for international flights. Speaking during a road show organized by Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority at the Lagos Airport to sensitize passengers who will be traveling during the Yuletide, the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Michael Achimugu, assured that the regulatory agency would implement the sanctions against any erring airline to the latter, and regretted that for a very long time, most of the air travelers were unaware of the rights, which made the airlines continue to violate them. Federal government is liaising with the National Assembly leadership to increase its annual housing budget to a minimum of 500 billion naira starting with the 2025 budget cycle. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, who disclosed this to State House correspondents at the maiden edition of Meet the Press, a weekly engagement forum organized by the Presidential Digital Strategy and Communications team, argued that the appeal became necessary as the 50 billion naira annual budget for housing is grossly inadequate compared to the yearly 5.5 trillion naira required to address the housing deficit. Dangiwa enumerated the funding routes, stressing that the recurrent 50 billion naira budgetary provision funds only 12 renewed hope estates through the 2023 supplementary budget, with an additional 27.2 billion naira allocated in 2024 for infrastructure completion. He said the ministry plans to expand these projects in the 2025 budget. The minister also said while PPPs address housing needs for specific income levels, they cannot alone bridge the significant housing deficit estimated at 550,000 units annually, and underscored the importance of increasing the government's annual housing budget, stressing that discussions with the National Assembly have secured support for a minimum 500 billion naira allocation beginning in 2025. Dangiwa also declared the establishment of the National Social Housing Fund, which aims to ensure that all Nigerians, especially low-income earners and vulnerable and underprivileged groups, have access to decent and dignified housing. You're watching the news on Atlantic Television Network, and now we move on to international tidbits. President-elect Donald Trump has confirmed plans to declare a national emergency on border security and utilize U.S. military forces for a mass deportation of undocumented migrants. Trump disclosed his immigration-focused agenda following his victory in the November 5th election. While on his social media platform Truth Social, Trump amplified a recent post by a conservative activist that said the president-elect was prepared to declare a national emergency and will use military assets to reverse the Biden invasion through a mass deportation program. Trump has moved quickly to assemble a cabinet featuring headliners on immigration, including naming former Immigration and Customs Enforcement Acting Chief Tom Homan as his border Saza, and the announcement of military-led deportation efforts is expected to affect millions of undocumented individuals in the U.S., with some estimates suggesting around 11 million people are currently living in the country illegally. Turkish airstrikes in drought-struck northeast Syria have cut off access to electricity and water for more than 1 million people, what experts say may be a violation of international law. Turkey carried out more than 100 attacks between October 2019 and January 2024 on oil fields, gas facilities and power stations in the Kurdish-held Autonomous Administration of North and East Syria, while the attacks have added to the humanitarian crisis in a region reeling from a years-long civil war and 4 years of extreme drought exacerbated by climate change. Water had already been scarce, but attacks on electricity infrastructure in October last year shut off power to the region's main water station in Alok, and it has not been working since. Turkey said it had targeted the sources of income and capabilities of Kurdish separatist groups it regards as terrorists, and was a drought in the area, adding that poor water management and neglected infrastructure had made things worse, while more than 1 million people in the Hasake province who once got the water from Alok now rely on deliveries of water pumped from around 12 miles away. And now we bring you sports news. Super Eagles caretaker coach Augustine Iguevan has insisted that Monday's 2-1 shocking home loss to Rwanda will not work against his team in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier. The West Africans will clash with the Amavubi when the 2026 World Cup qualifiers resume in March 2025. Iguevan claimed the defeat to the East Africans in Uyo wouldn't affect his side's performance in Kigali. The Super Eagles are winless in Group C with 3 draws and 1 defeat in 4 games, and the 3-time champions occupy 5th position in the group with 3 points. Chelsea legend Frank Lampard has revealed that his title-winning goal against Bolton Wanderers in 2005 was his favorite goal for the Blues. Lampard was successful during his time at Stamford Bridge, and a former England midfielder established himself as a club icon. He's also widely regarded as one of the greatest midfielders in Premier League history. Speaking recently with the official Premier League channel, Lampard said when asked to pick his favorite Premier League goal for Chelsea. And now we bring you entertainment news. Jail cell of the embattled American rapper Diddy was allegedly raided by federal agents in the United States, and they took away a bunch of privileged materials and his own writing notes meant for his legal team for an upcoming trial. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, made this known while accusing prosecutors of leveraging private legal writing seized from the singer's jail cell to keep him behind bars until his May trial. In a new document filed in Manhattan federal court, Diddy's defense team alleged that the authorities confiscated documents that were legally privileged and should not have fallen into the hands of the prosecutors, while his lawyer told Judge Aaron Subramanian said the search and seizure are in violations of Combs' 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments rights. Diddy's legal team further demanded prosecutors' answers who authorized the search of the singer's cell, where personal effects and paperwork were seized. Famous American singer Beyoncé is set to headline the 2024 National Football League's Christmas programming. The singer, in a post on her Instagram page, announced that she will be performing during the halftime show of Houston Texans versus Baltimore Ravens NFL game. Beyoncé's performance at the match-up between Houston Texans and Baltimore Ravens is anticipated to be the first live show to include her pivotal country album song, Cowboy Carter. This is coming after in 2013, Beyoncé headlined NFL Super Bowl XLV in New Orleans, and also in 2016, where she performed during the championship game with Coldplay and Bruno Mars. The 43-year-old recently became Grammy's most nominated singer ever after leading the pack for most chances at Grammy Gold this season with 11.